This is the Castle of Hell. The Pandemonium. Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and welcome to the final part of the Final Fantasy II commentary where we have entered, the Pandemonium. It's, well again, yeah, where we are basically right now is, Hell. Not quite fire and brimstone, but, certainly one of the more colourful looking areas, but then again, well, that's kind of the thing, really. I mean, there is, like, a bit of a repeater motif with, you know, the Pandemonium, Pandora, Lunatic, you know, Luna stuff. Whatever, it's a bit of a repeater motif, mainly coming in the form of stuff like Final Fantasy IV, Final Fantasy VIII, actually, really sort of comes to mind with this area right now, and, yeah, it's a motif that kind of comes and goes throughout the series, but, either way, this crystalline little structure is pretty much our final dungeon in the game, and, yeah, I mean, again, unlike a lot of other final areas, points of no return, whatever, you can technically go back through the teleport gate and, you know, well, okay, you pretty much have to go through 2 dungeons if you want to get back to this point in the game, but you can exit and, you know, leave, back through the Jade Passage, then get back to the overworld and, you know, heal up and go to Lally or whatever, really, but yeah, this is pretty much, endgame territory to defeat the Emperor once and for all, and, yes, indeedy, we're gonna be finding our way through Hell. I mean, honestly, I think Paul said it best. These kids are fucking crazy, but by God, they are dedicated to protecting their world, so again, it goes to show the sort of bravery. I mean, again, if, you know, if the Book of Revelations ever comes to pass, well, let's hope that Maria, Firion, Guy, and Leon have come to save us. Or Doom Guy, or the Dante, or anything else, really, at least. But yeah, this is pretty much where you're going to be fighting all manner of creatures, as well as getting a few, special encounters. Again, you do have your pretty much regular encounters you're going to be seeing right here, but you do have a few special ones that I'll be pointing out as we go on. But yeah, this is a bit of a lengthy beast of a part. Kind of fitting, I suppose, being the final part. The only problem is that, well, the handy-dandy tangents that I use to help me out in times of, lengthy videos, they'd be running mighty dry. And I only got the one tangent that's actually relevant to this thing, and, yeah, I think I might have already expunged my tangent on, you know, Soul of Rebirth for Final Fantasy II being a short sequel, so, yeah, that kinda goes out the window. And I already talked about Leon's characterization in the previous part as well, so, as it stands, I got nothing. Except for Aura X, the most powerful of auras. Well, actually, no, it would be Aura 16, but, yeah, whatever. Aura X. The X makes it sound cool. But yeah, I mean, needless to say though, if I can say anything about the presentation of Hell in terms of Final Fantasy II, kinda unique, although, I mean, it does go a little bit more on, you know, the extra-dimensional capabilities, but and again, I would really like to get inside the head of how exactly they designed this version of Hell, because, I mean, again, usually when it comes to, well, I mean, I suppose a lot of Western games, or, well, I guess it really sort of depends on the, you know, religious mythology, really, like, it's usually depicted as very sort of, fire and brimstone, you know, being judged by, you know, spirits of the dead or whatever, or, you know, walking through lakes of fire, but here it seems very sort of, esoteric, really. I don't know, I would have loved to have seen, like, what exactly, you know, was going through the developers' minds when designing this whole sort of area to be very sort of, I mean, I don't want to say, regal, but, I don't know, this, like, sort of crystalline palace kind of thing. It seems like, again, I'm not really too sure what influence it draws from, if there's any real-world, sort of mythology kind of thing going on, but, yeah, it does seem very interesting, and, Ultima 16 finally putting in the work. Ah, yes indeedy, powerful spells. Truly, we have ultimate magic. But yeah, I mean, to kind of talk about, well, okay, to talk about the soundtrack while we were still sort of ish there, yeah, pretty good final dungeon theme, and, you know, overall not too many complaints. Making use out of the flee function that I don't think we've seen for quite a while, or at least not that I recall, because it, well, I mean, it has been a while since I recorded the previous 2 parts, so, whoop-de-doodle. But yeah, I mean, it is pretty much like a multi-story facility to pretty much climb up. By the way, mithril golems. It's basically the thing, except he's blue. It's not easy feeling blue, because it was created by the Emperor, I presume. Well, that being said though, it does kind of make me wonder how exactly, you know, demons and monsters manifest in this world, because I mean, they are technically creatures from hell, so is that just their natural spawning place? Is there an ecosystem going on, or... I don't know, I am kind of thinking curiously, because I mean, again, with the whole idea of heaven and hell or whatever, like, I mean, it does give the idea that there is an afterlife kind of thing going on, and, well, I mean, again, it wouldn't be the last time that Final Fantasy does something like this, with, you know, see also Final Fantasy VII with a live stream, Final Fantasy V with actually one of its main villains, which is, kind of disturbing when you really think about it, and indeed with Final Fantasy X with, you know, the whole idea of the far plane and, well, fiends, so it does kind of make me wonder, like, again, are these the souls of people transformed into quote-unquote fiends, as Final Fantasy X would define it as? I mean, again, I don't really know if, like some of the world mechanics also function the same way in terms of Final Fantasy stuff, but they're given different names. Like, I mean, again, to use the Final Fantasy VII and X connection, since those games are at least canonically linked. Like, I mean, again, is the whole idea of the live stream being a similar vein to the far plane, or is it just different planetary energies? No, I can't really say for certain, but, either way, it does also kind of give it, like, a weird little reincarnation kind of belief here with, you know, I suppose something sort of tying into Buddhist values or something? I can't really say for certain. It's a very curious thing when you start researching into spiritualism and, the like. But, I mean, either way, like, I mean, it does also sort of tie into that idea somewhat at the very least. I mean, especially considering the fact that the Emperor himself has split his soul from, you know, again, his human half when one went to heaven, the other went to hell, and pretty much conquered both of those, so... yeah, it's, very sort of Hellenic in that kind of way. In any case, so I lack the knowledge or experience to really say anything otherwise, so in the meantime, we're just here defeating evil godos and demon lords. But they shall fall victim to the flare. If only we had Mega Flare, but alas, we lack the access. But yeah, this way we pretty much have everything we could feasibly need for our adventure. I mean, we've already got the ultimate weapon in Excalibur, we've got the Bloodsword, which, I equipped to Firion. Why exactly I decided to do so? Well, a bit of it was to give him something to level up, but the other reason of which was, well, for the bonus video. Because, to kind of highlight something here, and I might have brought it up before, so I do apologize for, you know, beating a dead horse here, but, yeah, the Bloodsword, makes the final boss your bitch. Like, in literally 3 hits, you're pretty much, you've pretty much won, so, yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much why I upgraded the Bloodsword with the Furion's sword ability as much as I could, and, hey-ho, Pip and Dale, yeah, you're gonna be seeing that next time, in the bonus video. So yeah, I mean, what I'm basically getting at is here that for the sake of, you know, at least showing the boss fight as much love as I possibly can, you know, to pretty much cap off the end of Final Fantasy II, I am very much going to be trying to fight, you know, the Emperor legitimately, but, yeah, that's pretty much all she wrote in that case. In the meantime, however, as we continue to go up more floors of the Pandemonium, or go up, or is it going down more floors? Weird, it's kind of weird that we go down to hell, but we also ascend to descend? Oh, I'm confused. Reverse rebirth indeed. But yeah, part of the reason why I'm also sort of exploring around a lot of other areas, I mean, apart from getting your lay of the land, is really to sort of, well, search for a specific encounter. And I might have mentioned this beforehand, but, yeah, and in kind of a similar vein to Warmech from Final Fantasy I, which was very much that game's super boss. There is a similar aspect going on in Final Fantasy II. It's not technically a super boss, but rather a very rare encounter that you can encounter, specifically on a certain floor of the Pandemonium, particularly by walking between 2 specific pillars, I think it was. But yeah, either way, you just sort of really need to sort of know your shit. By the way, Cyclone, I'm guessing that does, like, air magic damage? I'm not really too sure why, really, but, yeah, once again, I would also like to apologize, and again, I'm gonna try not to abuse, you know, Ultima as much as I possibly can, because I do realize that, you know, seizure warnings are very much a thing, and I don't want this video to be responsible for, you know, giving people epilepsy or anything, but, yeah, watch these videos in a well-lit room. I can't recall if I said that before in a previous video, but, it bears repeating. I mean, again, do you not cherish your vision, your cognitive state of mind? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's also part of the reason why, you know, you're gonna take breaks from... Again, contrary to our modern-day society, and again, it's also hypocritical for me telling you this, where you'd only ever hear this message because you're watching the video right now, is to, you know, take breaks on the odd occasion from, you know, looking at your screen. After all, I'm sure your parents probably taught you about getting square eyes from watching the TV all day, so, yeah, of course you want to go video blind, you know, go outside. Just take a look at the beautiful surroundings of nature. Enjoy life's beautiful pleasures, while you still can. Because God knowing things are gonna get worse before they get better. As is the state of the world that we live in, and have always lived in, with various trials and tribulations. Oh well, the only piece of advice and knowledge I can give you is, still, could be worse, and it will be worse, and then things will get slightly better, before getting worse again, and then things will get better in some ways, but worse in others. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got. I mean, I guess the important thing is that you're not stuck in the pandemonium. Although, again, to once again sort of circle back into the whole hell philosophy, I mean, again, this seems to be the breeding ground, or at least the, you know, the palatial residence for, well, I guess what the Final Fantasy II version of the devil was before the Emperor took over, so... Again, was the original devil responsible for creating all these demons, or did these demons just naturally live here? I'm not really too sure. I mean, I'm supposing that it might have borrowed from, like, the very first draft, where, again, the demons would have had their own faction, so to speak, and, you know, they were taking advantage of all the conflicts to invade, but, yeah, I don't think... Well, again, I'm not really too sure if the developers ever bothered, or maybe some of the novelizations bothered to sort of follow up on this, but... Yeah, is it its own civilization, or is all of this merely a result of, you know, somebody else's creations, really? Because one understated aspect of the Emperor's characterization is that, and, well, it is sort of implied by, you know, the whole creation of the Dreadnought and the Cyclone and all that, is that, yeah, I mean, on top of being like a tyrannical ruler and a sorcerer, the Emperor himself was actually a scientist, so, you know, he was responsible for creating things, and, you know, I guess you could already sort of see that with, you know, his whole sort of, you know, oh yes, humanity is flawed and weak and must be destroyed or ruled by my steady hand, you know, as most egomaniacs are of wont to do. But I don't know, really, it does, I don't know, it does kind of make me wonder whether or not the Emperor was responsible in part for creating some of these demons. Again, either before or afterwards when he ascended to hell, for lack of a better phrase. Ascended? Descended? Equished, really. Either way, there's monsters! Oh my god, it's the Beelzebub, which either means this is the devil that the Emperor overthrew, or this is, like, that buzzing fly enemy from Devil May Cry, which you could pretty much just shoot down and shoots out maggots that gunks up your gun. But yeah, these are the sort of creatures you'd typically be fighting around here, I suppose. Well, I mean, I suppose it would have been a little bit more interesting if we got to fight some of these enemies, maybe, than the typical rabble we've been seeing so far. Like, I mean, upgraded variants of, like, some of the Black Knights and Death Riders, I can imagine, but... I don't know. I think it... Well, then again, I say maybe it would have had more enemy variety, but at the same time, though... NES space limitations, stuff like that, I suppose, could have played a bit of a factor, but... Yeah, not really too sure what to say on that matter. Either way, since we're in hell, we're gonna make great use out of Holy, which is, well, gonna... Holy up this motherfucker! Give you a taste of Jesus! Walking through hell to make sure that the sinners get out of hell! Because Jesus was cool like that! And now that just made me think of, like, this really old fucking video of her rapping for Jesus, which is... I mean, there's a certain lyric in there that makes me laugh, but at the same time I also don't think would go down well with a lot of people. And yes, I also did give Leon Holy, because... contrast. I mean, just to showcase that, you know, Leon's on a path to repentance, even though he has done quite a lot of sinful deeds, so, yeah, his Holy is weak. His Holy is a little drip that goes, yeah, I'll harm you, blip. But yeah, Beelzebub isn't the only, sort of demon character that we're going to be facing. Well, I say character as if they have any sort of personality, but, yeah. You're pretty much encountering, all these sorts of enemies and treasure chests, and, I don't get them all in the first one, but I do manage to slot in every single encounter that we'll encounter within these, you know, specific, labyrinth doors, for lack of a better phrase. Basically the 4 hallways with 4 doors that lead to completely different locales. You'll be seeing all of them here, it's just that I kind of spaced them in a bit of a different way when I realized that I was missing some, and I should have encountered them. And the short and sweet of all of this being is that you're pretty much defeating all of these specific demons and chests to collect, well, pieces of Genji armor. So, yeah, I mean, if you want to collect the Genji armor, defeating all these demons is pretty much the way to go. But once again, this is also employing a lot more of, you know, the invisible wall. You need to phase through things in the design, which is kind of a wee bit pish, to be honest, but either way, though, yeah, I mean, in terms of dungeon design, you pretty much know what you're expecting at this stage, and I will say that it is at least a lot better designed than maybe some of the other dungeons in the game, but again, same sort of tricks and traps. I mean, it does seem to be a little bit less heavy on the whole sort of like, fooled you, oh no, there's an empty room, and then you have an enemy encounter. You know, which is, without a doubt, one of the more irritating parts of Final Fantasy II, but I'll save that for the final summary thingamajig, whatever. That being said, though, and again, I suppose there probably wasn't really much that, you know, in terms of a visual spectacle that they could really get to, I guess, make Hell seem like a place that you wouldn't really want to be, because, I don't want to say that it's a crushing criticism of, you know, the Pandemonium as a level in and of itself, but, yeah, I mean, when I think of Hell, I usually think of something that's either, you know, your typical biblical, you know, fire and brimstone kind of thing, or something a little bit more esoteric, and, excuse me. Again, like, I mean, if you remember Doom 3 and the like, you know, where they, you know, they did have a bit of fire and brimstone, but they also had, like, some, you know, distant echoes, screams, and, you know, some spatial distortion showing that you're pretty much locked inside a dimension from which there is no escape, and, you're very far away from God's light, so, I don't know. I mean, there is a certain something about religious horror that, if done right, is incredibly fucking powerful, and, I don't know, I suppose preys upon, like, a lot of human ancestral memory of, well, basically being cold, alone, and an unloved and, well, seemingly abandoned godless universe, but I don't know. It's something like that that I feel they could have really brought into Final Fantasy II, but that doesn't quite get there, really. I suppose maybe the NES didn't quite have the chops to really pull it off in certain aspects. Well, I mean, they could have, but I get that, again, you also got to contend with, you know, guidelines and other such fare like that, which I suppose might have also impaired their judgment, so yeah, in the end, I'm not really too sure. Maybe Japan technically could have gotten away with it, considering the likes of, you know, Shin Megami Tensei, which I think was around about this point. But then again, I don't think that was specifically horror, so who knows, really. Either way, this is Astaroth. Here he is. Astaroth, while you eat. And he set Maria on fire. So we're gonna light his ass on fire. I don't really have too much else to say about Astaroth, really. I seem to recall him... Did he show up in Final Fantasy 1? I know it was one of the games, apart from Final Fantasy 2, but... yeah, my memory's a wee bit foggy at the moment. Basically more of a magic caster, so again, I suppose your best bet is usually to either cast Silence! But, yeah, seems to be mainly a magic caster, really, so... that's kind of a wee bit pish, I suppose, but then again, I probably wouldn't recommend using Osmose on him since he might have a similar effect to, you know, some of the Revenants and Skeletons and stuff that can pretty much zap your health away with a zombie status, so who knows, really. Either way, we're gonna cast the ultimate magic on him! Kerblamo! You're doomed, Astaroth! Your soul is doomed. Blurg. Melting. Melting! What a world, what a world. In hell. Actually, that's kind of a curious thing. Where exactly do demons go when they die? I mean, do they just return? I mean, again, like, I mean, if they die, but they're already in hell, I mean, okay, if they die in the physical world, do they return to hell? Or if they're already dead in hell? Actually, no, because I think eternal suffering might also be a factor into that. I mean, suffering for all eternity, so you wouldn't technically die, but... I'm curious, actually, how the hell do demons work in terms of... I'm just kind of spitballing for any real religion here, or at least one that contains demons, but... like, how exactly are the demons punished? I mean, do they go to eternal suffering? Do they become mortal enough to be punished? Or, like, do they... or, like, I mean, again, if they fail their task, like, is it just like, oh, well, they return to hell and then get back to work doing something else? I don't know. I'm sure maybe there's meant to be more of, like, an esoteric sort of reason that I just simply haven't researched because of my lack of faith, or familiarity with a lot of religious texts, but... I am quite curious, actually, like, how exactly are Hell's minions, sort of is there an end to their permanence, or do they just still suffer eternally and don't have the chance to sort of repent for their mistakes? Because, I mean, considering like a lot of other demon figures throughout mythology, I can't imagine that they'd be very, you know, lax on failure or whatever. But then again, who knows, really? Who knows what sort of 9 to 5 that demons really have? Maybe it's just sort of like pockets of individual subspecies and colonies and equis, whatever sort of... Well, that's just me sort of taking more of a pragmatic scientific approach to it, in terms of, you know, animalistic hierarchies that seem to be the basis for a lot of demonic myths. Or vice versa, depending upon what you believe. Who knows, really? It's a very fascinating subject. I'll say that much. Osmos had leveled up. Good old Osmos. He was a good friend who loved everything and everyone. A treasured friend was our Osmos. Ozzy, we used to call him. I will miss him. My friend, Osmos. Ozzy Osmos. But yeah, this is where the editing comes in, where I believe I insert another battle. Now this is a familiar face from Final Fantasy I. This is Tiamat. One of the encounters where I believe you get the Wind Crystal from. So what the hell Tiamat is doing here? I have no idea, and this is kind of funny even further if you play Stranger in Paradise, where, let's just say one of your traveling companions of Jack Garland, Grr, I Must Kill Chaos, is trapped there as a monster. Well, rest assured, we'll defeat you. That's also another curious thing, really. Does hell exist outside of the typical realms of the Final Fantasy universe? Because, I mean, I suppose in that case, that could technically mean that this is perhaps a one and the same Tiamat from Final Fantasy I, in a technical sense. I don't know. I mean, it's fun to sort of, like, think about and do mental gymnastics to make my headcanon fit. And you know what, I was kind of thinking, like, you know, from Final Fantasy V onwards, I'm just gonna make up my own plot and sort of, like, find vague, bizarro fucking connections to sort of make all of this shit fit together in a single timeline, even though it doesn't really make sense, and, you know, it'll pretty much be completely debunked by official game chronology or Square Enix or basic common sense, but whatever, it's fun to think about, and quite frankly, haven't really got much else to say in regards to traveling through hell. Which you really thought I would, but, yeah. I don't know, I mean, as we continue to defeat Tiamat, I suppose what I would have liked to have seen, even if it probably wouldn't have gotten past Nintendo's guidelines back in the day for, you know, the English release or whatever, is, I don't know, maybe seeing, like, you know, flashes of people suffering, or, I don't know. I mean, we do technically get one instance of, you know, seeing, you know, former evil villains that sort of repent in hell by means of a boss rush, but, it's only really one person, but I think it would have been cool to have seen, like, you know, either victims suffering and, you know, agonizing over not having, you know, sort of repented for their sins, or, I don't know, I suppose people suffering eternally and, well, just sort of begging for the sweet release of death or peace in their life. I don't know. I guess maybe that probably would have been a little bit too depressing given the circumstances, but I mean, Final Fantasy II was already a pretty depressing game to begin with, so... I don't know, to me that would just sort of be the icing on the cake, really, just, yeah. Just showing, like, the end-all be-all of suffering, and, you know, by the end of the day, making Furion's victory against the Emperor all the more sweeter, knowing that he's toppled the Emperor of Hell, and people of Earth can... Well, Earth? What is the planet called in, yeah, it's weird, I don't think the planet actually has a name in Final Fantasy mythology. Well, I mean, it might do, because, like, I mean, you know, they do sometimes name, like, I don't know. I mean, Final Fantasy X called the planet Spira, so, I'm curious. I think in Final Fantasy VII, again, I can't remember if they name it something else in, like, other peripheral materials, but, I mean, in Final Fantasy VII, they just refer to it as the planet, but, nothing specific. Although I suppose since 10 is technically in that timeline too, I guess that technically does make it Spira? Maybe? I'm not really too sure. Oh, I'm confused. But, yeah, either way. I'm just gonna headcanon that every Final Fantasy game is a sequel to the other, regardless of whether or not it makes sense. But, that queashed. In the meantime, however, this is here where I slot in, well, a secret encounter, I believe. Oh no, wait. It's coming a bit later. Ah, I'll be buggered. I know it's gotta be around here somewhere. Oh my god, devil wolves! They're wolves, but they're painted blue! Well, we can pretty much take them out easy. I mean, if we can take out these other wolves easily, then what threat do they really pose? But in any case, though, it's around about this floor, which is, well, where I can finally get back into trivia time. It's specifically around this floor where you can encounter the Iron Giant, which, again, as I mentioned before, similar to Warmech, is a rare encounter that, yeah, has a pretty low encounter rate, so, yeah, again, if you're pretty much exploring around this floor and going, to and fro in between the pillars, this is pretty much your best shot at trying to find the encounter, but, yeah, it's a bit of a pain in the arse, so, yeah, just keep exploring. Well, okay. After the battle, just keep exploring around this floor and you should eventually get it. But, I mean, if not, well, yeah, just random encounter rates. Again, you'll tell if you got the right boss fight both by, you know, the unique enemy sprite that you're going to be seeing soon, and in turn, well, the fact that it pretty much plays like the secondary boss music. So, yeah, that's pretty much your only real tell that you know, you're going to be encountering the Iron Giant, and not the friendly one. That was from that kids movie or whatever. Ah, here we are, the Iron Giant. One that has a unique sprite and, again, does look like a pretty threatening enemy, so, yeah, a bit of a shame it's just about the closest thing to a super boss that you're really gonna end up getting, really. I mean, it's a bit of a beefy enemy, but at the same time, we are pretty well prepared at this stage, so, yeah, I mean, we do kind of take care of it no problem here, but, I don't know, by that same token, it's, yeah. I don't know. It's unique encounter that I figured I might as well show off for posterity's sake, and, yeah, I mean, if you're trying to complete the bestiary, however you're pronouncing it these days, yeah, this is pretty much the floor which to find it. I believe the 7th and 8th floors of the Pandemonium, and, yeah, that's pretty much all she wrote. I suppose if you aren't, oh, I mean, again, for Leon, Maria, and Furion, you should be pretty sufficiently leveled up in both strength, defense, and, you know, hit points at this stage, so again, you should be pretty okay. But, yeah, compared to a lot of other enemies, save for, like, a few certain bosses here and there, yeah, the Iron Giant does hit hard, I suppose, so, yeah. Just lay off the holy smackdown, and, yes, indeedy, your reward shall be great. Because you can't hit what you can't see. Yeah, so I mean, again, even if you buff yourself up with spells, I mean, you should be pretty alright even to begin with, really, so, yeah, I mean, it's part of the reason why I sort of hesitate to call it, a super boss. I mean, it's a rare encounter, sure, but, yeah, I mean, if you're fighting through, the likes of, you know, Warmech, or, you know, especially the likes of Final Fantasy V with, you know, fucking, you know, what was it, Omega Weapon and, Shinryu? Yeah, you're really gonna sort of fucking know your shit, really, so, yeah, you're gonna be prepared in hand for, well, dealing with those sorts of enemies, whereas if you're dealing with the Iron Giant, it's pretty much a bit tougher than what you're used to, but I mean, you should be okay if you're sufficiently leveled up and, you know, prepared for the journey ahead. And, I believe this was me realizing that, I'm trying to remember what the fuck I was doing here. I think I remembered I forgot a certain encounter here and there, so, yeah, this was, very much a bit of a whoop-de-doodle. So, yeah, I ended up getting, I don't think it's like a one last encounter, but, yeah, if you'll remember, all the way back in Summit Falls, when we lost our dear friend, Joseph. Yeah, well, when we encountered, General Borgin, he said, "I will see you in the hell." Well, seems we might have to make good on that promise. Yes, indeed, we'll do some dancing, we'll do some dining, and then we'll do some fighting in the hell. And, yeah, I believe it was about here where I realized my mistake. That there is a monster that we have yet to fight. So, yeah, Zombie Borgin. We made good on our promise, and he did indeed see us in hell. But, yeah, I mean, even in his zombified state, Borgin is still a fucking joke and nothing to take seriously, so, yeah, I just wanted to showcase this, and if you want to know where to encounter Zombie Borgin, it's in that same, 4-door labyrinth hallway. You just need to sort of finagle your way and, you know, phase through a few, walls in order to find the correct treasure chest. I believe it's the first door all the way on the left. So, yeah, that's pretty much how you encounter, Zombie Borgin. But anyway, we unleash the ultimate magic on him, and, well, now he's no more. Where do you go after you die in hell? Who knows? I don't know, maybe he's gone to, maybe he's become another fiend in Final Fantasy X. Who knows? But yeah, that's pretty much the end of everything that I wanted to show off in, well, everything that I wanted to show off in, the Pandemonium, and, yeah, I believe all that there really is to collect, so... yeah, onwards and upwards towards our final floor, and then indeed to the final boss fight before we finally encounter the Lord Emperor of Hell. The platforms. They're getting separated. We are reaching the end of our destination. Structure is falling apart. Hell is upon us. By the way, I would also like to point out that, again, the Emperor did also conquer heaven, as, you know, Soul of Rebirth will point out, so, yeah, you know, Emperor Mateus killed God, so, we're pretty much all that stands in his way, as well as our dead companions, so it seems so. It's time to pay the piper. You have braved the bowels of hell to reach me. But the hand of man which deals in false justice and forsaken love can never hope to defeat the Lord Master of Hell. I do kind of wish that, well, I mean, okay, to kind of point it out here, the arranged soundtrack, which is, you know, pretty much the, well, a full orchestral remix of Final Fantasy II soundtrack, does have its unique boss theme for the Emperor here, but this pretty much uses the secondary boss theme, which I feel it could have used in the NES version anyway, but acquiesced really. In any case, though, yeah, apart from Shields Up, Red Alert, the Emperor in his godlike, devil-like form you're seeing right here, yeah, this is pretty much him going full-on magic user right here, so, yeah, he's very much going to be casting a shitload of spells, so, you gotta be on your guard. And, again, he has pretty much unique spells, like throwing meteors at you. Yeah, take that, Sephiroth. Bet you thought you were the first to do that, but you're merely living in the Emperor's shadow. Actually, as a matter of fact, he also kind of beats Kefka to the punch as well, since, Kefka also did this whole sort of divine comedy thing of going from, like, the Demon of Hell, then, like, Purgatory, and then, like, the Emperor of Heaven? Or at least kinda, really, so, yeah, I mean, the more that I think about it, the more a lot of Final Fantasy villains actually help a lot to the Emperor in terms of taking their style from him. But yeah, either way, though, yeah, big magic user, so again, I suppose he's relying more on his demon powers of hell. But then again, that does make sense, I suppose. You know, he is all-powerful, evidently. Coming with a major god complex, you know, especially if his line's about, you know, the hand of man dealing false justice. I don't know. It's something that I feel that a story-heavy game could probably do a little bit more with, but by that same token, though, again, I just don't see Final Fantasy II getting any particular kind of, you know, reimagining or remake or whatever akin to, you know, what Final Fantasy VII got, purely because of the fact that, well, I mean, again, as I mentioned, Final Fantasy II was one of the lesser talked about games, but either way, though, yeah, pretty much, again, if you pretty much focus your characters into specific abilities, you know, like what we're seeing here, yeah, Guy's pretty much doing all the protection work, Maria's pretty much dealing out a lot of physical attacks, and Firion is our magic user. As for Leon, well, he's just sort of, he's just happy to be here, to atone for his sins. But yeah, I mean, either way, it is a pretty climactic looking final boss fight. Don't really have too many complaints, really. I suppose if you are underleveled a bit in terms of certain spells, you might find yourself, well, sort of having a bit of a war of attrition by having a healing bitch pretty much heal the party while, you know, your most powerful character in terms of, you know, dealing magic attacks might, you know, end up just sort of dealing the brunt of the damage, because I do remember in my first playthrough I pretty much had Firion dealing like a vast majority of the damage while Maria, it takes a bit of pip damage with Leon pretty much lying flat his ass on the floor. Meanwhile, Guy was pretty much doing the heavy lifting, healing everybody up, and throwing out the occasional elixir to get everybody's, you know, MP back up to snuff. But yeah, I mean, this is part of the reason why I would actually recommend you go out of your way to level up Flare and indeed Ultima up to level 16. It might start off a wee bit shit and it might feed into the whole fallacy of, oh, we wanted to have the most powerful magic be inefficient by today's standards. But I suppose also have the hidden message of, like, again, when you cast Ultima, you know, as, you know, having worked with it, trained with it, and mastered it to perfection, well, then it indeed is the ultimate magic to use, so, yeah. That's pretty much all she wrote, really. But yeah, this is also very much a bit of a last chance saloon, as you saw before, with me pretty much cycling throughout my, you know, different spells and all that kind of stuff, and, oh, Shruggy Dance, we can't silence the Emperor. Because I guess his magic resistance is too high. But yeah, I mean, if you want to find my recommended top tips for dealing damage to the Emperor, Ultima, and, you know, Flare, because I believe both are non-elemental spells, and, well, I mean, apart from that, just sort of have, you know, Guy on healing and protection duties, and Leon just dealing a bit of pip damage here and there, and just, being happy to be here. But apart from that, though, there is another strategy, which I mentioned beforehand in order to take out the Emperor, and yes, Ultima magic will be his downfall, and enjoy your reward. Unbelievable. Defeated by insects like you. Not once, but twice. Who are you? It's done. Now let's get out of here.
It's finally over, isn't it? It was a long struggle, but with the Emperor gone, we've nothing left to fear. Thank you with all of my heart. I thank you. With the combined strength of Kajuan and Finn, we will build the kingdom anew. Together, Princess, we will create a kingdom even fairer than the old. Though once a coward, I now stand here a new man. I have all of you to thank for that. You have my deepest gratitude. I'm sure Scott is smiling down on me from above.
Look at you. Do you realize what you've done? Who am I supposed to steal from with the Empire gone? You put me out of a job. I guess I'm gonna have to start stealing from you. Better watch your backs. You sure showed Emphirion. You're every bit the bloke I pegged you for. If you ever feel like trying your hand at pirating... What? That not sit well with you, Maria? Looks like your next battle's already begun, Firion.
You did it! I'm sure my dad's happy for you too, up there in the clouds. I'm going to be working here, serving the princess. I just want to do whatever I can to help out.
Joseph?
We must now dedicate ourselves to the task of restoring what was lost. farewell. Words cannot express my gratitude to you all.
War finally over.
Yes. We can all live in peace again, together. Right, Leon?
There can be no going back. Not for all of us.
But why? Don't go! Firion, stop him!
Maria, Leon is right. We've been through too much already. I can't stop him. Not now. Leon, we will meet again. Well, we should be going too. This is only the beginning. A line that's usually said before things completely end. Their long struggle was finally at an end. The Emperor, Pandemonium, the monsters plaguing the world, all of it had vanished without a trace. Everybody returned to their happy lives in Fantasyland, running around, asking if the scariness was over, and they really should have added a drop shadow to that text because I can barely read fucking shit. But I mean, yeah, pretty much the short and sweet of it all is that, yeah, everybody pretty much returns to normal, they're rebuilding the kingdoms, the towns, yeah, I mean, as you can see right there, Goltry has pretty much been repaired, so, yes indeedy. Seems that, I'm guessing the same might have happened to Altair as well, Poft, Paloom, and some of the other spots in the world, but, yeah. I mean, either way, it's pretty much just there to go to show that, you know, even though, you know, if everything is saved and everybody's a bit happy-clappy that, you know, there's no more danger, well, apart from tertiary things, yeah, the scars of war are gonna linger for a while, and, well, I mean, again, if you're one to count Final Fantasy II as a prequel to 4, well, yeah, needless to say, their troubles were only just beginning. Which is, I don't know. I mean, again, if you want to take Kain from Final Fantasy II to be the same Kain from 4, yeah, I suppose you could. And then again, I suppose you could also have feasibly, you know, have a bit of time pass between, you know, Prince Gordon and, you know, Princess Hilda forging a new kingdom that will become the one from Final Fantasy IV as well. Who knows, really. But either way, that was Final Fantasy II. I would... Yeah, I mean, out of the 3 Final Fantasy games I'm covering, it is definitely in my top 3 Final Fantasy games that, I've played, and, again, I came into Final Fantasy II kind of bereft of expectations, really. This was the one game in the series that, next to, I'd say, Final Fantasy XI, or, well, yeah, Final Fantasy XI, I really had no preconceived notions as to what people thought about the game. I mean, again, I didn't hear people talking negatively about it, I didn't hear people praising it to high heavens like, you know, your typical Final Fantasy 6, 7, and, you know, 10 kind of debacle. And I mean, again, for what it's worth, I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, the leveling system was, well, not exactly everybody's cup of tea as I've seen throughout the fanbase. I feel like it does make sense for what it sets out to do, provided that there are a few slight issues in the design. Again, namely, it's just, you know, in terms of just, you know, gaining health. Again, I don't exactly agree with the philosophy of, you know, stop hitting yourself in order to level up your health point system, but then again, the Pixel Remaster rectifies that by getting a set amount of health after a few, you know, after a few encounters, so it's a bit of a non-issue at this stage. And, yeah, as for anything else, I mean, story might seem a little bit bare bones compared to what we have these days, but, I don't know, for 1988, I don't know, it fits its job quite nicely, and, yeah, quite frankly, I mean, again, it did have its moments. the tale of a good plot? Yeah, I mean, the tale of a good plot in my eyes is basically how much of the plot can you remember after the fact, you know, after having not played the game for, say, I don't know, a week, a month, a year, and it can still remember Final Fantasy II's plot pretty well, despite the fact that it's, well, got a lot of development that it's crying out for, which I suppose a game made even during, you know, the 5th and 6th generations could have easily provided, but yeah. Sadly, we'll never see it made, which does kind of make me wish that the whole idea of, you know, Squaresoft, Square Enix remaking Final Fantasy 1 through 3 kind of happened on PS2 hardware. But, I don't know. Sad days, I suppose. Something that only could have happened in the PS2 era, but never again. I mean, especially not these days in video games, well, very, you know, overproduced, over-bloated budgets and, whatever. The state of the gaming industry just makes me sad, and for those of you wondering, yeah, what happens after the end credits theme of, you know, Final Fantasy II was it pretty much plays the overworld theme, but I thought, fuck that, I might as well play something a little bit more somber, so hence Final Fantasy VIII soundtrack. But yeah, I mean, to get back into my praises of the game, I like the characters, I enjoyed the story, it was pretty gruesome all things considered, but again, I consider that a plus because it really does sort of tie into the... I mean, again, it ties into the harshness of war, you know, the losses that everybody suffered, but at the same time, it doesn't revel in that destruction. It feels natural, for lack of a better phrase. Like, I mean, again, you get the severity of it, but at the same time, it doesn't grind you into the ground so hard that, you know, it makes you feel... Well, I mean, again, it doesn't grind you into the ground so far that it makes you just sort of stop giving a shit and feeling like, well, why should I give a shit when everything sucks and we're all gonna die? Again, you have enough worth fighting for, and again, you do get to see the loved ones of... you know, people you've met, and all that sort of thing. And, you know, you can continue to support these characters throughout all they've been through, and quite frankly, that's the sign of decent storytelling. Again, my only real things that I wish Final Fantasy II could have improved upon, I wish they kept the original Firion plot of, you know, him struggling to control his anger and, you know, not giving into the darkness and becoming like the Emperor, as was implied in the second story draft. And I also wish for a little bit more expansion on, you know, the Emperor's history. I mean, maybe not necessarily some of the stuff with his mother or whatever, but at the very least, how he came to conquer Hell, how exactly he, you know, sort of came to, you know, uncover and understand a lot of these concepts. That would have been a lot more interesting, but then again, whether or not Soul of Rebirth delves into that, I'm not really too sure, so I stay my tongue on that. But I mean, yeah, as for anything else, generally, overall, I quite enjoy Final Fantasy II. I mean, again, if you can pick up the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters, yeah, Final Fantasy II, I think... Again, I'd say it's worth playing, but I mean, again, depending on whether or not you enjoy its, you know, leveling system, I think it's at least worth a shot. I don't think it's completely impenetrable, and nor does it have, you know, advanced enough mechanics or, well, I suppose alien mechanics a la the junction system of Final Fantasy VIII to really turn people off, so... Yeah, I mean, again, if this game gels with you, then I think you'll be in for a pretty good time. I mean, I will say that it is certainly the Final Fantasy game that, you know, the series owes quite a lot of its identity to, at least in terms of, you know, giving it a more developed story mythos, you know, a sense of characterization beyond hero good, defeat evil bad, cosmic villain of evil. Which, sadly was what Final Fantasy III kind of regressed into with the Cloud of Darkness and the Onion Knights and all that, but whatever, that's not to disparage Final Fantasy III, that was really just more, I guess, responding to complaints at the time. I mean, again, it is telling that Final Fantasy II, as it was known in, you know, the US for a time, that being Final Fantasy IV, did take a lot of elements from Final Fantasy II and arguably did refine it to, well, a bit more of a refined science, really, so, you know, there were improvements made to this game. But yeah, as for anything else, I wanted to cover Final Fantasy II, even though, well, again, I've only just started uploading some of the parts at this point, and the viewership has been mighty low, probably because I don't really cover much, you know, JRPG stuff on the channel, apart from Kingdom Hearts, and even then I can imagine it's probably a little bit tough to sit through, but... Aquist, I did my best, and I wanted to do this game justice, and, well, I hope you guys enjoyed the ride while we had it, so... Yeah, don't really have any complaints, even despite the viewership being low. Or, I mean, at least at this stage, it is early days, viewership might catch up, and who knows, I might get people interested in games that I enjoy playing, which is pretty much the main purpose of all the commentaries that I do. I enjoy games, and, you know, if you like what you see, you might want to pick it up and enjoy it too. Just as any good commentary should be. But yeah, as for anything else, what's coming next in Solidus-Skully commentary land? Well, shortly after I record the bonus video for Final Fantasy II, which is pretty much showcasing a few of the extras here and there in the main menu, yeah, coming up next is Shadow Dancer for the Sega Mega Drive. Basically, it's part of the Shinobi series, and I figured after such a long, lengthy, you know, RPG, story-heavy game thingamadoodle, you'd probably be interested in some Sega-style arcade action involving Joe Musashi and his little pet dog, destroying demonic ninjas and fighting his way across New York City. Or, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was New York City. But yeah, either way, the arcadey Shadow Dancer is next, and, yeah, might be a little bit of fun. But, as for a more substantial game, coming right after that will be Devil May Cry 3. Oh yes indeedy, the game is fully recorded, and, yeah, Shadow Dancer won't take too long, so not too worry. For those of you looking forward to DMC3, we will be getting to that quite soon, so, yes indeed, for those of you waiting for a crazy party, and one grouchy Solidus-Skully there to complain about it, yeah, you're in luck, I suppose. But then again, everybody should probably know my thoughts on Devil May Cry 3, and if you don't, well, let's just say while Mr. Pizza Man Dante is dancing around going woohoo chimichangas and whatever, then there's grouchy Grandad Solidus-Skully going, I just want to go home and do commentary. But yeah, that's pretty much all that you have to look forward to. There are more games on the horizon, and as for any other video projects, well, that kind of depends, really. It depends on, my motivation. But, yeah. Either way, I suppose I'll leave you on this, somber overworld theme that you can finally hear in its luscious NES glory. So on that note, I'm Solidus-Skully, keep it new metal, and I'll see you dudes and dudettes next time for Shadow Dancer. Catch you later.